Coming up, there are plenty of teams with plenty of work to do going into Week 16. We have playoff clinching scenarios, we've got elimination scenarios, and the Tennessee Titans did already pick up their win this week. We'll get to all of that and the biggest keys to the victory going into Week 16 here on Locked On Now.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
Welcome to Locked On Now NFL. I'm your host, Nate Dickinson. Thanks for making the show your first listen every weekday. Coming up on the show today, we've got a good look into every team strategy going into Week 16 that you need to know about. A whole bunch of big stakes on the line. So let's dive right into it with the one game that has already happened. Thursday Night Football saw the Tennessee Titans pick up a big comeback win in our best performance.
The best performance.
Hold up.
Tyler Rowland here, host of the Locked On Titans podcast, with my instant reaction to an incredible comeback victory for the Tennessee Titans on Thursday Night Football. They beat the San Francisco 49ers 20-17 after losing at halftime 10-0. The Titans scored 20 points in the second half, mostly on the back of wide receiver A.J. Brown, who absolutely balled out in his return from injury. This was a monster win for the Titans, who felt their playoff hopes and their grip on the AFC South slipping in recent weeks, but now they have moved their magic number down to 1. So one Tennessee Titans win or one Indianapolis Colts loss would clinch the division for the Titans. But not only that, a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Kansas City Chiefs and a win for the Bills over the Patriots would put the Titans right back in contention for the number 1 seed in the conference. So just a huge win in a big spot when everything looked like it was going wrong. The Titans turned things around and they moved to 10-5 on the year, a 20-17 victory for the Titans. Make sure to check out my full recap on the Locked On Titans YouTube channel directly after the game. And thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen. The
Arizona Cardinals are trying to remain contenders in the NFC, as some people are saying they may be frauds for real Super Bowl contention, but they've got a big matchup to try and prove things against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. Jonathan Stewart looks like the best running back in the NFL right now. Locked On Cardinals explains how Arizona slows down him and the rest of the Indianapolis offense.
The Arizona Cardinals look to make it not 3 losses in a row on Christmas night, taking on a nightmare matchup for them. A rush defense that is shaky at best, taking on the world's best running back right now, toting the rock, in Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts. It's Bo Brock, Alex Clancy of Locked On Cardinals. And Alex, how can the Arizona Cardinals and their fan base keep the sky from falling? What's the main key to victory Christmas night against the Colts?
Stop Jonathan Taylor and tape. I mean, I don't think we really need to talk about anything else. I mean, really, it's stop Jonathan Taylor. They are a one-trick pony offense. Give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Give it to him again. Doesn't matter. Passing the ball, handing it off, whatever. Stop him. Stop him and protect Kyler Murray. Hopefully, Rodney Hudson will be back at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to get that offense going, even if you do have the success, which nobody has had in stopping Jonathan Taylor, having an MVP caliber season. Arizona Cardinals giving a ton of explosive runs. It just is a bad matchup for the Cardinals. They're going to have to quiet the narrative that they can't slow down the run. They're just going to have to do it by performing. That's your key to victory. Stop Jonathan Taylor, maybe make Carson Wentz beat you. That's your key to victory here from Locked On Cardinals.
The Dallas Cowboys host the Washington football team this Sunday. Now, when those two teams meet, it's always big stakes, and it means a lot for both fan bases and rosters. But this one has big playoff implications, too. Dallas can clinch the division with a win. Washington still trying to stay in the NFC playoff picture with just a couple games left. That means that our Locked On football team and Locked On Cowboys host both have plenty to say going into this matchup.
The Cowboys are likely to secure an NFC East championship this weekend, even before they set foot on the field against the Washington football team. For Cowboy fans and for the Cowboys to feel good about the result on Sunday, the offense is going to need to take a couple more steps back towards being what it was previously. Hi, I'm Landon McCool with the Locked On Cowboys podcast, and for the last month or so, the Cowboys offense has felt disjointed. Although it has been a steady incline these last few weeks since they've gotten a little bit healthier, since Connor Williams got reinserted back into left guard, it still isn't quite back to what we all expected, and that's understandable given the kind of defenses, the types of defenses the Cowboys have faced, making them kind of drive the field in long, elongated drives, making them complete passes over and over again to get down and taking away the big play. But it's time now that the Cowboys are getting off of a 3-game win streak on the road. It's time now that they're back at home for them to start lighting up defenses through the air, just to show that they can, because they're going to need to be able to do that to face some of the high-powered offenses that they're going to face in the playoffs. The Cowboys are not the only team that have faced a little slump at the end of the season. Certainly not the only high-powered offense that have faced a slump, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were shut out. Arizona has had their own struggles. The Rams have been up and down at times. So the Cowboys just need to break out of this, show that their offense is legit like it was early in the season, and then combined with the way the defense is playing, that the Cowboys can be real contenders when they get into the tournament. For more on the Cowboys, make sure you check out the Locked On Cowboys podcast, and for more on the NFL overall, check on the Locked On NFL podcast, and we will see you next time.
What's going on, Washington football team fans? First, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Next, our big question for Sunday Night Football, Washington heading down to Dallas. And I have multiple questions. Who will be at quarterback? We still don't know the answer to that. Number 2, will Antonio Gibson, Landon Collins, William Jackson III, injured all in Tuesday night's loss at Philadelphia, be able to even play? Washington already has a slim chance, and maybe some would say none, to win this game and stave off elimination. If they don't have those 3 guys, they're going to be in a whole heaping load of trouble. And will they be able to stay competitive regardless of who's on the COVID list and who's not on the COVID list, and who's injured and who's not injured, and who's in action and who's not? The feeling is, yeah, they'll be able to stay competitive for a little while because Dallas's offense is still not clicking on all cylinders, but that's just a feeling. It would be surprising if the game is really close. Thanks for watching Locked On Now. Remember, the Locked On Washington Football Team podcast is free and available on all platforms.
Finally, the New York Giants are out of the playoffs, but that doesn't mean that they don't still come up to play when it comes to facing off against their rivals in the division, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're really all rivals in that NFC East. But it's a big matchup in Philly. Anywho, for a Giants team looking for something to play for, our Locked On Giants host tells you how New York gets it done with still plenty of backups out there on the field.
Who's going to be under center for the Giants on Sunday? Hi, everybody. This is Patricia Traynor, host of the Locked On Giants podcast. And the New York Giants have officially put Daniel Jones, their starting quarterback, on injured reserve, which means they've got to decide now who's they're going to ride the rest of the season. Will it be Mike Glennon, the backup quarterback who has started the last 3 games and lost the last 3 games? Or will it be Jake Fromm, the youngster that they picked up off of the Buffalo Bills practice squad about a month ago, who is still learning the offense? Now, Giants head coach Joe Judge would not say which way he was thinking when he spoke to reporters on Wednesday, but the belief is it's going to be Fromm. And here's why it should be Fromm. Fromm is a young signal caller, looked pretty good in a limited amount of snaps that he played on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys, was able to move the offense, take control of the huddle, and actually be a little bit better with his accuracy than Glennon had been. And plus, if you think about it, Fromm has an opportunity to be part of the Giants' future, whereas Glennon probably is not going to be back with his team next year. So it makes sense, if you're the Giants, to see what you have in Jake Fromm these remaining couple of games. Will the Giants do that? Well, that's our biggest question. And that's what we will find out later in the week when Joe Judge decides to make that decision public. For more on the Giants, keep it here on the Locked On Giants podcast.
That's all for us here on Locked On Now NFL. Be sure once you're done listening in here to tune into Locked On NFL and your Locked On Team's local podcast to stay up to everything you need to know around football every day of the week. We'll be back again with the Sunday night episode to break down everything you may have missed from a busy day on the gridiron in week 16. Maybe hear if some of these keys to victory that we heard from today ended up paying off. Until then, once again, thanks for making Locked On Now NFL your first listen every weekday. Until next time, I'm Nate Dickinson.